Hello, now we come to the section on e-commerce and retail sales, and in the deep learning section of the big data applications analytics course, as well as doing deep learning. This section also does other aspects of modern AI, which just has a general focus on deep learning. This particular section has quite a lot which is not really deep learning. First of all, we have a broad section on retail. The technologies are not discussed very much. Deep learning underlies some of them, such as natural language processing and recommender engines. And here's some general remarks on artificial intelligence in retail. This discusses some general areas where you can actually make progress with AI. One is personalizing the experience, and this particular page has a lot of comment on personalization, showing that using data to big data rather gives you a significant revenue increase, and you get that faster than methods which don't use personalization. And as a sort of reflection of this, 7% of e-commerce visits, including customers clicking on recommendations, but actually 24% of the revenue comes from those clicks. So we can see that recommendations are pretty important, and that's again we just discussed in another section of these class. The recommendation engines now are using deep learning, and here we see that artificial intelligence is likely to boost product profitability by 60%, and for both retail and wholesale parts of e-commerce by 15 years from now, 2035. And here we see the spending, which is clearly increasing, getting up to 5 billion just by 2022. That's not so far from now. And also, if you click on a recommendation during your first visit, you're much more likely to return. So having good recommendations is very important. And you need to have those, you build these real-time engines attached to websites which use all the data available to decide what to put on the website. That's why when you go to the web, you find all these adverts for things you tried to buy yesterday because they think you're still interested, even if you actually bought it, so you're actually totally uninterested. The AI is not perfect. Natural language processing allows you to do many things. It allows it to extract information about a product and match it better to you. And of course, with voice or audio interfaces, NLP can be very important. Computer vision is very important. It allows you to track what the customer does and how long they're waiting and getting mad, whether they're stealing things, and what they pick up, and therefore you can automatically charge for, and so on. And then, of course, there's this, people are desperate for augmented reality or virtual reality to be important. It's always been expected to be more important than it is. Maybe we actually living in the real world. That's pretty surprising. Anyway, so lots of people, like I do, use search continuously, and if there's a lousy search on a site, then they don't come back. Actually, that's why I like Google sites. Google search is so much better than Microsoft search, for example. I'm actually moving all my stuff from my Windows machine to Google Drive, mainly because the Google Drive search is better than the terrible Windows search. Here is this terrible statistic on the number of photos taken on mobile devices. And of course, people love to take photos. It's so sad to see my beautiful single lens reflex camera totally dwarfed in importance compared to these miserable cell phones. I remember when cell phones just started to have cameras, and I had one of the early ones. It was terrible, but people were very impressed that you could take a photo with such a trivial device. So we have visual search tools, which are also growing in importance. Here we have some data from Pinterest. I never know quite how to pronounce that. And here we have a huge growth in the visual searches, 250 to 600 million in a year. All right, here we have some data about the importance of having a quality interaction experience on the web. 80% of customers try to resolve an issue online before contacting customer services. That's actually a surprisingly high number to me. And if you look here, we have a comparison between all shoppers and millennials. It's not totally clear what millennials are. They're either Generation Y or Generation Y plus Generation Z. My guess is it's the sum, but the formal definition is just Generation Y. Post-millennials are Generation Z. Anyway, this graph here with some the younger generation over here, and the old folks over here, and you can see the younger generation is less tolerant of poor service, and that is reinforced in the graph on the left, which compares Generation Y with Generation Z and how they react to various non-optimization of the online experience. So this plot on the right describes how people stop doing business. And of course, the idea of a chatbot is if it really can answer those questions and respond immediately, because there shouldn't actually be any delay with the chatbot. That's just computer time, and computers we should have plenty of. So, if we're a poor old retailer trying to implement AI, we have many problems. We have to get all our data together. We have to hire people who are qualified, and as universities don't really teach they teach the general skills, not the specific skills. But anyway, they have to do it. That's why there's so much demand for data scientists. Industry must become AI savvy and cloud savvy, or else they'll die. Well, they won't die. They'll just go out of business, as you see with some of these sad companies. I used to love Sears. I feel so sad that how much it's left behind. And here we have about natural language processing being key technology for chatbots, and of course the machine learning, which builds the models to try to answer the questions, the recommender engines and things like that. And if we look at the challenges, this is a real challenge, lack of skills. Security is a fake challenge because it's true to everybody, and people worry about it more than is actually important. This is a serious problem, the fact that AI is putting people out of work. Being conservative, well, that's a problem, but that can probably be addressed. Not believing in computers, well, that's probably true for some things, but not for others. You have to decide whether they're good. They're going to get better computers, but I doubt if humans will get drastically better. All right, now we come to a different and rather, to me, amusing section on how to make your money. Actually, it turns out all this stuff about being a data scientist may not be the right way to succeed in life. Maybe all you do is just set yourself up as a seller on Amazon. So how do we do that? Well, here is some links, and you need to understand if you really want to run your own drone service and deliver the material, then don't read this section. But most people don't actually want to deliver the material and handle or the warehousing. So you look at fulfillment by Amazon, where Amazon does all your work for you. And then actually, if you are like me, a Prime member, you will find that you'll become eligible to get Prime service. And here are some links from Amazon telling you how to fulfillment by Amazon works. Here is some general links about how to sell on Amazon, whether or not, if you sell on Amazon, you can either do the hard work yourself, or you can get Amazon to do it. There's lots of software support. The top three are for sellers on Amazon: Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Viral Launch. I am not certain what is best. I happened to look at Jungle Scout because I came across it first. But other people have told me these other two products, Helium 10 and Viral Launch, are actually better. Shopify is pretty important. It's a very successful company. It has soared in success and stock market value recently. And it's an e-commerce for the everybody support company. You can, Amazon has many services. There's even a seller university on Amazon teaching you how to be a seller. And if you don't want to watch, I haven't watched those because you actually have to be a seller, which I'm not. But there are lots of videos on YouTube telling you how to sell on Amazon. All right, we want to sell on Amazon. Well, what do we have to do? Well, we just actually study the Amazon web pages, and we have to have some intuition of what people want to buy. But actually, Amazon tells you what people are buying. So if you're let's look at this FBA seller. You can really do not so much, because you don't even have to ship the material to Amazon, because manufacturers will ship things to Amazon. You're just a middle person deciding what to ship. If you ship it to Amazon, they will take 35% of the selling price, so that's the downside. With a $20 item, they take $7. You do have to stick a tag on each merchandise so that the robot can locate it. But many manufacturers will do that for you, or else you can just add it yourself. And if you go to the local Walmart and see what they're getting rid of, you can take your cell phone, type that item, Barbie doll teddy bears, and see Barbie doll teddy bears are selling for $50 on Amazon, and they're being discounted $3 in Walmart. You just buy them and ship them to Amazon and sell them. Alternatively, you really know who makes a good sleeping bag, and it's a brand X company, and it will put on the E534 logo on that sleeping bag and sell it. And you set up E534 company, you logo your sleeping bags, you arrange for this vendor to put the ASIN on it and ship it directly to Amazon. Then you can use these software like Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Viral Launch, and actually find out how best to price it and generally arrange for its selling. Use pay-per-click ads, and you make some good web material and product information to advertise this material. Here's an example of how you might approach this. Suppose you thought, probably unwisely, that selling Indiana University products on Amazon was a good opportunity. So you go to that, you type that in your Amazon search engine. This particular page has Jungle Scout installed, and it will then tell you about what it sees on the page. Indiana University plastic tablecloths are priced at $18.48, and unfortunately they sell 0 per month. And they're ranked number 309762, so they're not a very good idea. There are some things which sell reasonable amounts here. The biggest is top of the world NCCA. That's actually not a IU product. I think it's an NCAA general product. So anyway, that sells 1,617. Anyway, if you look at this page, we have an average price of $16.69, an average number of reviews of 75 per product, dominated by a few products here and here and here. And Jungle Scout rates this as 5, which is possible to live with. Say medium demand and not very much competition. There's just not a horde of people out there, data science graduate students trying to keep get tuition for Indiana University by selling Indiana University products. So you can consider doing this. And what you will have to do is you need to become in the buy box, namely you have to be who Amazon says is the way to go to buy this stuff. And it will tell you here, we have monthly sales, that is monthly revenue, reviews, rating, rank. And this particular page does not have an indication of whether it's in the buy box or not. We need to go to a different page for that. All right, next page. Similar example, I jumped up to the NCAA football rather than Indiana. Actually, slightly higher opportunity, 6. Higher price, higher monthly sales. Well, it's okay. And if you look at these numbers here, they are a little bigger. There are no zeros here. If you look here, now we have the seller type on this page. I didn't do it for the other page for some reason. So here we have FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. That means Amazon did not sell the clear tote NFL Stadium approved, which has 11,396 sales. So you could compete well there. Here we have fulfilling for the Windcraft NCAA vinyl sticker sheet. So some of these are Amazon and some are FBA. Some of them don't seem to have a category. LQS is how quality of the listing, which is often not so good, like this one here is meant to be terrible. But also it doesn't have much revenue, $7,000. But you know, $7,000 a month is, if you have a few products like that, you can actually soon rack up your tuition for the for a semester and things. So it's not these numbers are not too small. It's shabby. So $112,000 a month here for 3x5 flags with grommets. Give me a break. Why did we selling all those flags? All right, let's look at the next page. These are just some. Here I did deep learning books, and here we have FBM, fulfilled by merchant. That means the poor person who's selling this book here, of which they're selling 13 a day, is actually doing all the shipping themselves. Most of these seem to be fulfilled by Amazon, but this is claiming it's because there actually aren't many sellers out there. This it rates as an opportunity score of 8. That becoming a vendor of deep learning books is a pretty reasonable thing to do. And they have pretty good monthly sales here. Look at this. I've written books. I can assure you these are good monthly sales. I would love to have had those monthly sales. So I had the seminal book on parallel computing when I wrote it. I think I sold 5,000, 6,000 copies in total. Very sad. My later books sold even less. All right, so that's this shows you how you can really browse the whole Amazon site and decide what to do. And if you really think, well, you could actually write a book, of course, if you realize that was a good idea. But you could just sell other people, get the other people. Here's the famous book by Goodfellow, and I have, I think, a little more data on that. Yes, here we have Deep Learning, the Goodfellow book, and it is selling a solid monthly sales around 500. It actually is pretty constant. I would have been surprised that actually I would expect this to be higher, because this is really a seminal book. And the monthly revenue for this book is only $13,000. Because MIT gets all that money, most of it, some goes to the authors. Here we get the real money, except there's high demand, but the Clinical Scout doesn't rate it very highly. It's only a 4 because of high competition. Is competition. There are some FBAs fulfilled by Amazons, and some Amazon sending it directly. But here the numbers are much bigger. We have 3,848 vacuum cleaners sold a month. So this is just selected on vacuum cleaners, and they're all over the place in prices and sales. Let's look at the maximum sales. So Eureka is the highest maximum sale of 485. And here we have some 17. Here's another Eureka at 17. That's sort of interesting. How there's obviously some models. Well, this one is only $29.99. This one is $80.58. So there's obviously low prices get rewarded. Here we have, but here we have Hoover, obviously a well-known manufacturer, and it has 48 daily sales, 1,440 monthly, at $180 essentially. All right, so well, you need to really do some experiments to see whether these ratings are correct. Because if we really produce the E534 vacuum cleaner and we market it with a great website, maybe we could clean up. Who knows? So this is the last slide of this set. How you get rich selling on Amazon. I mean, a scientific study of this is a good thing to do for this class. So we have daily sales. We have the reviews and the ratings correspond to the customer comments on the listing. I've told you what FBA and FBM mean. We only found one FBMs. Most are actually Amazon. And they say you really have to get in the buy box. That's what if you go and try to buy things from Amazon, it tells you you select something was the best way to buy it, which is usually itself. And if they don't have it, or maybe because other people are offering it cheaper, they will put that other person there. But they will also see the following vendors. And with the following vendors, you better be highly ranked on that list of other vendors. And we have the listing quality. You better get your listing quality up there. And the opportunity score ranks all aspects with including the competition. And you really need obviously Jungle Scout thinks you should choose a high opportunity score because they're probably selling their software on the claim, but it helps you in that regard. All right, so we've seen how retail, we have recommender engines, chat boxes, and we have an amazing cottage industry of how to do the mom and pop internet store. Amazing. And of course, similar things are presumably possible with eBay. I must admit, I find eBay as a good place to buy brand X items, which are not really sold very well on Amazon. So I assume the same thing that I did here with Jungle Scout and Amazon. There must be an eBay equivalent. All right, have a great time. Thank you very much.